TTMB. The Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Bank.
The Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Bank. The merger has happened, ladies and gentlemen. The Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Finance Company has merged with the Home Mortgage Bank. And this morning, we have with us the Chief Operating Officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Bank, Mr. Brent Mc Fee, joining us this morning. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Rawkus, and good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
How are you doing this morning?
Wonderful, wonderful.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Let me say congratulations on the merger and the launch of this new company, the Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Bank. Now, for those who don't understand what this actually means, can you break it down for us? Why is it important that TTMF and TTMB, and HMB have joined together?
Right. Okay. So I'll give a little background on just to confirm. On January 17th, so this has been long in the making, right? Mm-hmm. So then Minister of Finance, 2012, would have made the announcement, and there are persons who would have been instrumental in getting us to that point. The former MD CEO, Ms. Ingrid Lashley, who would have planted that seed to get us to get it on the agenda of the government and the shareholders of Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Finance and Home Mortgage Bank. So it is a combination of Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Finance Company Limited and Home Mortgage Bank coming under one roof, Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Bank. Mm-hmm. The intent, of course, of the merger is to harness the synergies between both companies. Those two companies, or these two companies, bring together a collective years of experience of over 90 years in the mortgage finance industry. So we are harnessing that particular those strengths that would have come together, bring the companies to a point where we are saying, okay, let's build on that foundation that we have established and move forward in terms of coming or bringing new products onto the market, ensuring that we are inclusive, that we build on excellence, so that it is all for the benefit of the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Tell me about some of the products that you guys already have and some of the stuff that you hope to bring on board.
Yeah, certainly. So there are a number. So Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Bank now has three arms of, well, I would say three arms of business, right? The residential, which we are very, very familiar with, more so the 2% and 5% financing, and so those will have particular criteria, and you're welcome to go online, visit us to get more information on it. So we deal with the residential, and just to highlight that we do not have any limits in terms of what we lend, right? So it is that if you have a property for $10 million, you qualify to borrow, to repay, absolutely, right? So there is no limit. So just want to dismiss that.
But there's still qualification standards.
But you have qualification standards. And we also have commercial mortgages that we do that deals with wholesale development of housing units and stuff. So if a developer is interested in putting on a number of units, 4 units, 20 units, etc., we finance that. We finance both public and private. So contractors that go through HGC, we also finance that as well.
Right.
Also, what is very important is that the investment products that we offer. So we have savings, collective, I would say very competitive returns. There's a fund that we have that is guaranteed. If you didn't know, now you know that we have investment products that offers as much as 5% in interest, right? Depending on your risk appetite. So, you need to come visit us to get more information on that. Yes.
Now, I understand that the whole idea of the merger is to not just bring together the, like you said, the years of experience, but it's meant to have a more streamlined approach, especially when it comes to the residential side of things. I think that's the part that people are oftentimes, like you said, most familiar with, but also most curious about, and also most anxious about as well. So tell me a little bit about how those events are going to be streamlined a little bit better, and how does it benefit the man on the ground?
Well, let me put it like this. There is a housing deficit, over 100,000 units, right? What we are doing is that we are bringing everything together. So, as I would have mentioned, when you invest, while it is that you get competitive returns, you also invest into affordable housing.
Right.
So the developers who we finance will now put in the necessary infrastructure, build the necessary units to now build units that you can now apply for and own, right? In addition to that, okay, so we're saying, well, we have the units. We also want you to better qualify. So we have the interest rates that supports that as well. So you come in, you get an interest rate that makes it affordable, so that it is all about all along the value chain of housing that brings us to a point that citizens can better qualify to own a home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what would happen to people who would have owned and who would have been investing in the previous companies. What happens to their investment? Is it transferred over? Is it start over? How does it work?
Yeah, so it's a combination of assets. So nothing is lost.
Okay.
Everything comes together in one company under one roof. So it's nothing to be concerned about in terms of your investments. It's just one company now that and just to highlight though, at this present time, HMB is a subsidiary of TTMB.
Right.
And then we will have that move from the assets, and we will keep the investors and stakeholders informed along the way as we move.
So there's steps to the merger that's happening, is what you're saying?
Yes,
all right,
that's
so
correct.
the step that we're at now is that we've launched TTMB,
Yes.
but HMB falls as a subsidiary company.
Correct.
All right, and that, so people can apply to, so if you already have a mortgage with HMB, it just transfers over, or it's
That's
still,
correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And similarly, if you have a mortgage with
TTMF,
it would just,
TTMF name has been changed to TTMB. So the same company, TTMF, registration, that remains. So
Okay.
legally, the company still exists.
and I know you mentioned the aspect of it being both private and public, but I know people are very familiar with the public aspect of it when it comes to the HEC housing, and
Yes.
that is going to continue.
That is going to continue.
Okay. Anything else that you want to make sure that we mention this morning that they know is going to continue? So that, because I know people will be nervous. Every time we hear new companies, you often think that it is there's merging for, illicit reasons or whatever the case may be, tax evasion reasons or whatever. But it sounds to me as though these two companies coming together is a good thing, because now we have everything kind of pooled in one place that we can use and kind of use it effectively.
Absolutely. I mean, it's significant to understand that this is synergies that are coming together. One-on-one, making 11, more, it cannot be two, right? So it is about building on that foundation. It is about streamlining, ensuring that we drive the costs down to have the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago qualify for housing, because that is the ultimate aim. We know that as you would have mentioned, is anxious. Persons are anxious. I want to own my home, and the merger is intended to move us to a point where more persons, more citizens qualify for housing.
All right. The Minister of Finance would have mentioned that the merger will give TTMB access to $2 billion in low-cost funds to provide affordable mortgages.
Yes.
How is that happening? How does that work? Break that down for me, because I'm confused by it.
I think the best person to answer that question is the Minister of Finance at this point. Based on the assets that come together of Trinidad and Tobago, TTMF and HMB into TTMB, the assets, the combination of the assets have a broader aspect in terms of us being able to access funding and increase amount of funding
At a lower cost.
at a lower cost.
Okay.
That is the aim.
Because one of the things I also noted that he mentioned was the decrease from the 6% market rate to 3% when it comes to TTMB as well.
That's correct, yes.
And there's benefits, those benefits trickle down as well?
Absolutely. That is the aim. That is the aim, to ensure the affordability.
To ensure affordability.
Yes.
All right. So in terms of people who want to qualify, can you break down for them what some of the things that they may need to do to be able to qualify?
All right. So again, I want to highlight it's three different aspects, right?
Right. So let's start with the residential.
Right. So if you speak about the residential, I mean, it's basic. We want to know what income that you make, right? So if it is that you work with a payslip, work with a job letter, if you are a self-employed individual, work with the bank statements, 3 years at least. So for us to get a picture as to what you can pay, right? What you can qualify for. So we pre-qualify you, and then we walk you through the process as to what are the legal requirements. And it's important to understand it is a process that persons get frustrated on because they are pretty anxious as to,
They're ready
it's
to
a lot,
own the
it's so
house.
legal.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that because it is the largest investment that you are going to make,
Yeah.
right? We don't want you to lose your funds. So we have to go through the process, doing the necessary searches, making sure the person that is selling you the property is,
Legit.
the owner of the property. Want to make sure that if they owe funds on it, that they pay it off so that you get clear title. So there is a process that takes place where that is concerned.
And I imagine it's similar for the corporate side of things.
Corporate side of things, a little more because we want you to understand what is the experience in developing. So I mean, we want the houses to be complete. We want everything to be successful.
And a particular
right?
quality as well.
Exactly. And of course, it's important that the investors invest with us and I want to make the point that every dollar that is spent or that is invested with Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Bank goes to the development of Trinidad and Tobago. The shareholders who receive dividends, the National Insurance Board of Trinidad and Tobago and the government of Trinidad and Tobago, it is for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The individual investor that comes in, he or she gets a good return on their funds.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, one of the funds is guaranteed. So if you are a risk adverse, you want to make sure your funds are safe, there is a fund there for you.
And but there are different funds that you can choose from.
Absolutely, yes.
Is there a minimum investment that you have to make?
$500.
$500 would be the minimum.
Yes.
And do you need to work with the same set of information, the same bank history, job letter, all that to do the investment?
For the investment, we want to know you, so you work with your utility bill, etc.
Right.
What way source of funds, if it is salaries, if it is savings, you want to know where the funds are coming from. So those are the things that you'll work with.
I want you to explain to Trinidad and Tobago because I think that lots of people don't quite understand why that investment side of things is important and how does it benefit them? How can it benefit them? Why is it important for people to understand how we invest and why we should invest?
Absolutely. So we want to. So first of all, one of the key things of this organization is that we want to create generational wealth through real estate for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So we want you to understand that if you want to build generational wealth, you have to start now, right? The time is now. Own your future. So when you invest, and even if you want to do a down payment on your home, you have to start somewhere, right? Put that investment into a return that gives you that a few years down. When you invest, now besides the return, as I mentioned, now you're investing in a company that says, I'm going to build housing for you. I'm going to build housing for Trinidad and Tobago. That investment is backed by mortgages, backed by real estate, so persons need to understand that, when I invest that dollar, I'm seeing that infrastructure being built. When I pass and I see a new home, that is coming from
I pay for that.
My investment. And along the line, as the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago benefit and grow their income, it is for the entire country to prosper. So that is where your dollar goes. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Mc Fee, let me say thank you very much for joining us this morning and for breaking down some of this so that we can understand it. If you guys want to get more information, you can head across to their social media at TT Mortgage Bank. You could also head across to ttmortgagebank.com and get more information on how you can be a part of it, how you can invest, and how you can also take advantages of the different opportunities and products that we have available, be it residential, commercial, or just strictly investment. Brent Mc Fee, Chief Operating Officer at the TTMB, joining us this morning to chat a little bit about the merger. Thank you so much, Brent.
Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. We take a quick break and we come back with more on the Now Morning Show. Stay tuned.